fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
How you can write your own book in 7 minutes or less that will have a massive impact on you and your kids and your grandkids. I mean, maybe even great-grandkids that you might not even meet, all in just 7 minutes. So, hey, everybody, Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, back again here with Salt Strong UNCHURCHED. And I'm sure the headline probably got you excited and say, man, I've always wanted to write a book. And truth be told, that it's like 85% of people, when they get interviewed or asked into a survey about writing a book, like 85% of people say that that would be one of their goals in their life, is to write a book. So, I mean, that's huge. I mean, when you start getting close to 90%, I mean, that means you got almost everyone. I don't know what the 10% of people that don't, maybe they're just, I don't know. Hopefully you're not listening in that 10%. To me, I was like, why wouldn't you want to write a book and publish something that could, maybe it was just for your family, the lessons you learned, et cetera. I think that is so powerful and really, really exciting. I mean, talk about a real legacy, right? That can you imagine like something would get passed down from every one of your kids and grandkids? Hey, you know, Well, Papa Bear wrote this book, or Grandma Bear wrote this book, or Great Grandma Bear wrote this book, and this is something that it's kind of something we live by. It's all part of something we all have to read, and gives us value as we go through life and pursue things. And anyhow, to me, that gets me really, really excited. And so I'm listening to this podcast by a guy named Roland Frazier, and I met this guy a couple times, and I've always liked him. He's a likable guy, wicked smart. I mean, crazy smart. Owns quite a few different businesses, and like 30 of them or more. So super successful, and yet he never like seems to work that hard. Just one of those people that just seems to like things come naturally to him. And I know it doesn't. I know he's had to work hard for it. He's just a crazy reader and you know, just all about failing forward and learning from things. And he said, and so anytime someone's like that, and he always seems to kind of live the life he wants, meaning he's takes tons of time off, tons of vacations with his family, and has got a real tight-knit family, and just someone that anyone would aspire to be like. And he said one of the most impactful things that he's ever done, and essentially turned it into a book. And I've just started doing this, by the way, and I'm already loving it. And it's taking me 7 minutes per day. That is one caveat. It's not just 7 minutes, it's 7 minutes per day. It's taking me like probably 4 minutes per day. But he's like, for every day. So you go through the day, whatever today is for you. I don't know when you might be listening to this, but let's just say it's a Sunday. And so you go through the day and you're just trying to think about, as you go through the day, or try to remember anything that was impactful, like a learning lesson or something powerful that happened. And then the next morning when you wake up, this is a ritual you do every day for 365 days, is just write down that one big lesson learned from the day before. It could be a bad one, meaning like you got burned and, man, I wish I would have done this to protect myself, or here's a lesson learned. It could be a really good one. Like, hey, and I'm going to read off some of mine here in a second from the ones I've done this year of, man, like I want to remind myself next year at this time to do this. Like right now it might be working out, right? Or drinking less, or eating better, whatever it is. Just all these small little lessons. And he's like, at the end of the year, I got 365 entries of all these, the best things I've learned over an entire year. And he's like, I put them into a little book, and have my kids read them, and my, friends that I know going through a tough time. I'm like, hey, here's literally the best things I've ever learned in the past year. And, if every year you're at your new best, right? And you're wiser every single year, this book should only get better and better. And he's like, you can have one individual book, per year, or you could put them all together and over a 10-year period and literally have something that is so special to give your kids. And I'm getting really excited by this. And so I started at January, 1st here of 2023. And my first one, I'll just read to you the entry, is life is all about relationships. Don't sacrifice spending times with friends, new and old, just to work or do something else. do this, meaning spending time on relationships any chance you get. He or she who has the most friends wins. And that was an important one for me. I'll just kind of tell you why. We were up at the farmhouse, and that was why I missed the one Salt Strong Unchurched then. And we were talking about going home, just so we could kind of get caught up on life at our house here in Winter Haven, and and not have to travel after New Year's and kind of feel like we're getting behind. And I wanted to do some work at Salt Strong, and we had two different friends who, in the farmhouse is there about 2 hours from Atlanta, Georgia. And we had two friends from Atlanta where my wife Lauren and I used to live, and I went, Georgia Tech, and she went to Emory there. And these are like our best friends from college, like total best friends, our roommates, and some we still keep in touch with. Hadn't seen in a while. And both of them, ironically, my best friend and old roommate, and her best friend and old roommate, both live in Atlanta still with their families, and both had nothing to do over that New Year's time. And so we invited them over. And in the beginning, I was just like, oh man, I got so much to do. I kind of just want to go home. And afterwards, I was like, oh my gosh, that was one of the best. We had the best time. And, there's no TV or anything at the farmhouse. We're playing board games, and they have like a little pickleball court in the back. And we just had the absolute best time. And afterwards, I was like, man, life is about relationships. It's not about sitting there rushing to get back to work or, doing things like that were more just, intrinsically based and about money and, I don't want to get behind. I want to catch up on work and my emails. And I literally didn't check my phone or my emails those few days that we were there with them, and went all the way past into New Year's Day. And I don't know, it's just such a hard hitting one that he or she who has the most friends wins. I mean, I truly believe, that is what life is about. Obviously, this is Unchurched, and we talk about God and faith. That's a massive, massive part, clearly. But even in the Bible, I mean, it talks about having friends and giving to everyone and giving time to as many people as you can, and just being loving to as many people as you can, and building relationships, both with Christ and with God, but also with just as many friends as that you can impact. And anyhow, this had a really big impact on me, and it was a great way to really start the year. And you know what? I don't even remember those emails from January 2nd, right? The only thing I remember is missing the Unchurched podcast. But besides that, I literally don't remember anything else that I missed out on. And yet I gained so many awesome memories with my friends. So January 2nd is Clean House Often. It's really tough to have a clear head and to maximize your creativity with clutter. Clear off your desk, clear off your room, clear off your floors, and purge things you really don't need. I think that's a great tip for a lot of times for the first of the year, but it is so true. Like, as soon as I just cleared off all the stuff on my desk, I had so much stuff piled up. And as soon as I got it off and just trash stuff I didn't need, it was crazy some of the creativity I've had just from that. January 3rd, begin with the end in mind. From goals to daily tasks, always begin with the end in mind and reverse engineer all the steps that must happen along the way. Then see January 4th, because I did these back to back. Take action, and we've talked about that a bunch here on the podcast. I talk about it in my book. Remember that it'll never be perfect. And if it is, it only became that way through constant action. January 5th, keep it simple. Humans naturally want to overcomplicate everything, but the best ideas, products, and relationships are all simple in design. Always ask this question: how can I simplify this? I don't know. I love these things, and I've already forgotten these. A lot of us think, oh, I'll remember that. We don't remember this stuff. It's now here at the end of the month, I don't remember any of this stuff I wrote down, but reading it, I'm like, oh man, this is so good. I want to pass this on to my kids, right? And that's the point of this whole kind of podcast here, is this is the kind of stuff that you pass on to your kids, or if you're the age where you got grandkids. I mean, imagine giving this to them, right? What a gift. And they might not even realize it at the time, especially if they're younger. They might have been, oh man, I really wanted dad or granddad or grandma or mom, to get me this new, Lego set or whatever it is. But something like this, even in just a simple notebook, it doesn't have to be a published book, right? But a book is a book. It doesn't really matter if it's a manuscript or even if it's just online in a Word doc, it can still be a book. Imagine what this could do in their lives. And because they're all going to hit a tough time. We all do. There's going to be a winter period in every one of their lives, usually many times over. And if this is something they could go back to, even if it was just like a proverb, just reading one little small thing that says, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed to hear right now. Wow, it's so powerful. I'm looking at January 8th. Have faith. Don't sweat the small stuff. Remember, God already knows. He has a plan and it is perfect. No amount of stress or anxiety can help or change things. And that was because I had kind of a stressful thing happen the day before. And so I woke up that morning, and once again, these are all, this takes me way less than 7 minutes. It's usually 3 or 4. And I already kind of know, in that morning what had kind of happened the day before, but I usually like to sleep on it and process it. And that morning has just been one of the first things I do when I wake up, and I just write down kind of the big lesson learned. And I am going to publish this, if you will, and give this to my kids after I get done. And I'll probably just keep doing it every year. And I'm sure there'll be some things that repetitive, but that's a good thing. I mean, we need to be repeaters as parents and as grandparents and anyone else you want to impact with this. It could be that you work for the Boys and Girls Club or the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts of America. You want to just, pass this kind of stuff along. I think it's so valuable. I think the older we get, we're called, literally as sages, right? that is the in terms of our relationship with life. And once you start getting kids and grandkids, I don't want to say elderly, the older you are, the more wisdom that you have, the more of those winter seasons you've gone through, the more mistakes you've made, the more things you've learned from. You have so much knowledge that, looking back, man, I wish someone had told me that when I was 28 or 38 or 48 or whatever the number is. And I don't know, I feel like we're just called to do this. And there is no better way than just to document it in a few minutes a day, every single morning, versus saying, I'll do it one day, like the 80-some% of people that say they want to write a book. I didn't finish the rest of the stat, though. I'm going to save the best for last. So 85% of people surveyed say a goal in their life would be to write a book. You know how many people actually do? 1% of the 85, 1. So think about that. 85% of people say they want to. We all know it can make an impact. Only 1, maybe 2% ever write the book. So this is a way to do it. As I said in one of my days, take action. This is the time to do it. Even if you start here on February, whatever it might be when you're listening to this, start it now and go till next February. It does not have to be January 1st. That's irrelevant. It's all about starting at it someday. I think January 1st is an easy one to say, but the next best day is today or tomorrow morning. Start tomorrow morning and then consistently do it every single day. I really believe this will be something that will have a massive, massive impact on your loved ones and other people that you come across that might just need to have some wisdom dropped by you. So that's my challenge. I hope you take me up on it, and hit me up if you do or have any questions on it. joe@saltstrong.com. Talk to you on the next episode.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was passed down to me from the days of old. To find us on the water if there was a way. It's been said my papa, he wrote the book on catching big reds and 20-pound snook. I wish I knew all the things he knew today. So